Hey there, this video is all about something called design specs. So we've signed off our design in XD, client loves it, users love it, it's ready to get built. We need to get all the information held inside the XD document to a developer, and design specs allows us to export, send a link to the developer. You can see here I'm in a browser, they don't need XD, and they, see over here, are self-sufficient. They can download the images that I've marked for export, they can grab the colors, they can grab the fonts. They come down as both SVGs, you can see there they can download them, or maybe PNGs. They can find out the measurements and the sizes, corner radiuses, all that work you've put in as a designer. You don't have to hope the developer can build out. They'll have all the information they need, all the code to ensure your design matches their final output. All right, let's jump into Adobe XD to work out how to do it. All right, so like in the last video, we identified that some things need to go out to our developers or our engineers. So they need things like images. They do not need that as an image, okay? They'll develop that in code. But what they do need is they need to know, is it black? Is it gray? How see-through it is? What's the opacity? That sort of details. And obviously we don't want to write it down or email it to them. We want to allow them to be able to pull it themselves. And that's where something called design specs helps us out. So to do it, we go up to publish here. Okay, and we've been doing publish prototyping. So this has been great for sharing our ideas with either our client or our user testers, but that's finished now, right? Everyone signed it off. Now we need to send it to the geek that's gonna build this thing, or the group of geeks. Okay, so we're gonna go to publish design specs. Click on this one. It's much the same format as the other process. We're going to export for web. We'd have to do a second export for our app down the bottom here, but we're going to stick with web. We're going to give it a name, include the assets. So this might not be activated for you. Why would this not be activated for you? It's because you haven't set any images to be exported, okay, or batch exported. So let's come back to that in a sec. So this one here, you can see in the last video, we identified your part of batch export. Let's have a look at, see these guys here, that because they're not added to batch export, you can see this, it's not applied. This is not something that a developer can download. They can see it, but they're not going to be able to download it as an asset. It's up to you what you want to do. Let's say I do want all these fellas. So this one's going to be profile 1. I'm going to shift tab. Shift tab. Is that even a shortcut? It's kind of hard to do. Okay, so I'm going to export these profile photos. Okay, well, so I'm going to select them all. And if I click on you, this will be something the developer can actually download. And these ones I won't do because I guess I want to show you that what the difference is between them being tagged for being tagged for batch export is versus not. So back to this, design specs, web, include the assets, require password is cool. It's not going to go out to public. Okay, I know it's creating a public link. It's just anybody with that link can actually download the assets. It's up to you whether you're kind of behind the scenes working or maybe part of an NDA, something that needs a password. I don't. We'll speed this up. Why is it actually, we won't. Why is it taking so long? Because it's actually generating all these assets here. Okay, ready to go. So it's generating the 1%. Remember we did exporting images in the last video. We had like a ×1 and a ×2. It's producing both of those. So if I set this to export to Android, it's going to try and create like 6 different sizes. So it might take a long time. All right, we're back. That took a long time because it's producing lots of artboards, lots of code, and also my internet's real slow. So like when we publish a prototype, we've got these options over here. I'm going to copy the link. So I could just email that now and paste that into an email and send it to my developer. Let's have a look at what they'll see. So I'm going to click on this button here, open in browser. Here it is here. I'll come back when the page is loaded. All right, here we are, and there's some bits missing. Okay, so before you save out your design specs or hit the publish button, you need to do 2 things. Okay, back in your XD mockup, you need to make sure whatever the homepage or whatever the first page you want to be shown, you need to make sure you're in prototype and you set this little home icon. The other thing is that all the pages that you want have to be connected. So it's showing me all of these, okay, but it's not showing me any of these guys. Why not? Because there's none of these pages actually go from here down to this one. Okay, so they're separate. So you can publish a separate one. So I can say that's going to be my homepage now. I can publish a second design spec, so a new link. So you'll end up with two of them, one for the website, one for the app. I've kept them in the same document here for this course just for, I guess, so we can see it all and it's nice and easy. But probably in a production, I'd keep the app separate from the website. Probably not the mobile version. If it's just a mobile website and not a separate standalone app, I'd keep it together, but separate app, separate document. Okay, so you can see it also hasn't exported anything from my artboard. The other thing we didn't really cover is we need to make sure we're exporting it for whatever we need to, right? So web for this and iOS for that, or Android. You might have to do these two separately so they can download everything they need if they're doing both an app going for, both platforms. So let's have a little look and why this is so awesome. Like, I love this because I've got developers, okay, buddies that do the development work for me. I'm an average web designer. I'm okay. I can get by pretty far, but any sort of back-end stuff I need help with. So what used to happen before XD is I would send them a mock-up, say in Photoshop, okay, or Illustrator. They both do UI design pretty well. And I'd give them access to Photoshop so they could open it. So they had a license. I knew they did. I'd say, just grab the assets yourself. And they'd be like, don't want to, or can't, or it's too much. Just send me the images. And you're like, oh, can you just grab them yourself? No, they'd say, you do them. You're the designer. All right, so from far out here, we can't see a whole lot. So what we're going to do is click on any one of the pages. It zooms in and it gives you access. This is the magic side over here. Okay, it's like your assets panel. You can see these are the assets that I've marked to be downloaded. Whoa, I missed the $ in the middle here. So you'd have to group both of those to make sure they export together. So this page has these. It even highlights them. Can you see it moving over here? If I highlight the man, I scroll down here, there's the woman. Has all the colors, has all the character styles, and it shows me all the interactions. So this is what I've done in the prototyping. Okay, so I can click on it and kind of move around. I want to go back to all screens. I'm going to click on homepage. What you can also do is both the creator, so the designer, and the developer, is you can add comments now as well. Okay, so you can go through and say, like we did when we were doing our prototype, you can ask questions. Things like, what I get back lots is, can you make this an asset? I forget to mark something, and my developer will send me that. I'll get an email, and I can come through and go back into XD, click on it, make sure it's marked for export, and then just go into here and click update, and then it'll be ready for him or her. Cool, let's have a little look on the assets again. So what I really like is if you select any of these, you can click more than one at a time, but if I click just the hero man, you can see down here, I can download it as a PNG or a PDF. So good. I'm going to turn him off and just grab this one. You can see, I can get an SVG or a PNG or a PDF. So good. This one here, PNG, PDF, means the developer doesn't have to come into XD and try and get them or ask me for them. I just mark them as batch export, hit the design specs, and away it goes. Other cool things is colors, okay? So I don't have to go through, ooh, where's he from? Need to figure that guy out because we've got two doing very same thing, very similar colors. But they can click on this. What ends up happening is it's copied into their clipboard so they can open up any sort of like their code editor and it grabs the color. Awesome, huh? Click on this one. They can paste it into Dreamweaver or Komodo or whatever development program they're using. I'm not sure what's hot at the moment. Same with the fonts here. They can click on it. They can also decide whether they're using points, pixels, or maybe DP, which is a weird one they use in iOS, I think. But they can get what they need. Down the bottom here, it has their interactions as well. Can you see they kind of highlight over here? It's just so that they're like, have I gone? Because sometimes they might not explore the whole thing. It just kind of lays it out here. The other thing to do is if they hold down shift, can you see I just tap shift on my keyboard and it kind of highlights where they could go. They can also just use this arrows. I find that's what ends up happening most. But it updates and you can see there's my little guys. But you can also see, because I didn't add that to my export, it's not in there. Same with these fellas. Okay, these just aren't part of the export downloads. Gives them information about it, like its size and appearance. So that's one thing. Let's go back here. I told you that buttons need to be made in code, right? So this, if I click on it, gives them loads of cool stuff. It tells them the rounded corner. You don't want them guessing. The color, what kind of drop shadow. You spent ages getting the perfect drop shadow. Okay, and they can just copy the code out of here. Gives it the height and width. You can also see if I hover above my mouse, this developer can know that it's 8 pixels either side, top and bottom. Can you see? And the space between this is 40. Oh, so good. If I click on this font here, not only does it allow them to get the font and the size and everything perfect, they can actually copy the actual content and paste it into what they're building. Now we don't have a huge big amount here, but know that you can search screens, and that's about it. It just gives the ability to pass this information off without having to export everything, try and think of everything. It's all just here for a developer to use. And what I find probably the most beneficial is when changes get made. I can make the change in XD, just do an update, and then the developer, without having to re-link or resend, they'll have access to the updated files. You can add a comment to make them aware of it. It's a pretty sweet process. All right, that is going to be it. I will see you in the next video.